Hey, what's on guys, my name is Brad, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another Duel Links video. Today we're going to be talking about the 2018 Megatins and whether some of the cards in those specific products could come to the TCG. Now there is a bit of a pre-warning for this, that Duel Links as of right now has for the most part had cards that have been available in both the TCG and in the OCG. The only exceptions have been of course a Jam Mandala, which was a video game promo, or a video game / anime card, sorry, and the vanilla monsters we get in like the Stardust, like Tatsunu Toshigo, things like that, that we probably won't ever see printed in the TCG, but every card from then on has been of sharing like the same worldwide printing. So there are two cards in this video in the set that are brand new to the TCG that obviously will be probably the last cards to come if they ever did come to Duel Links. But I thought I'd talk about them anyway because it makes very good discussion. And again, let me know your thoughts on these cards in the comments down below. What you think could come to Duel Links, what you think couldn't come to Duel Links, and whether if I've got any of the combos kind of wrong, or whether there's any other really broken combos you could think of, then that would be a really nice discussion to have. So let's start with Elemental Hero Nebula Neos, a level 9, 3000 attack, 2500 defense, contact fusion monster with Neos, Grand Demol, and Dark Panther as its materials. And immediately, we can't play this at all because we don't have access to Grand Mole. Which, if you don't know what Grand Mole does, Grand Mole basically can, during the start of the damage step, if it bounces an opponent's monster, it can bounce itself and that monster back to their hands. So it's really good because you're not taking any bad damage from that whatsoever. And Grand Mole was actually limited in the TCG for a very long time. So when it comes to Duel Links, if it does, I honestly expect it to be a level up reward or an event card as a one-off. I think having Grand Mole at 2 or 3 might be a little bit too not broken for Duel Links, but might just shake up the format a bit too much in the way Konami wouldn't really want. But apart from that, Nebula Neos, if this card is special summon from the extra deck, draw cards equal to the number of cards your opponent controls, then negate the effects of one face-up card on the field until the end of this turn. Right now, we don't have a card in Duel Links that has an effect that really benefits you by letting you draw potentially up to 7 cards, depending on how many cards your opponent controls. Of course, this summon could be negated in general, which is a bit of an issue, but that can happen with anything. Still, being able to draw potentially 7 cards, but most of the time you're probably going to be drawing maybe 2 or 3 cards. That's still a huge benefit to you, and I think that that's a little, even though the monster is very hard to summon, I think it's still a bit too much of an advantage to you. Then it has a pretty big special effect at the end. Once per turn during the end phase, shuffle this card into the extra deck, and if you do, banish all cards on the field face down. So that includes it, itself goes back into the extra deck. Obviously your Neos and your Grand Mole and your Dark Panther are already back in your main deck, but everything else on the field is getting banished face down, and when it's banished face down, that means that you or your opponent cannot access those cards for the remainder of the duel. They're pretty much dead. If you have any cards that bring things back from the banish zone, they can't work on them. So that would be a pretty big blow to your field, but more importantly to your opponent's field. And to me, this is a bit of a huge negative if you don't have access to new space on your field, because the new space makes it so you don't have to activate the effect that gets shuffled back into the deck at the end of the turn with contact fusion monsters. So if you did activate this effect, and you had to activate this effect, then you're leaving yourself potentially wide open for an insane amount of damage on your opponent's next turn. If they have a pretty stacked hand, then you might have just lost the game in that turn by summoning Nebula Neos and going for this effect. So it's a very, like a 50-50 boss monster. Like if you can kind of win the duel, and you can guarantee that the cards you draw are going to be useful and they're going to help you advance your game state much to the point where you win the duel in that turn, and I think that it's a very good card. If not, then it can be pretty devastating for you if you don't have any countermeasures to your opponent's next turn. And for that reason, I think it probably won't come to Duel Links, aside from the fact it's a TCG exclusive. It might be a bit too overpowered for the game. Next, we have Elemental Hero Solid Soldier. Now, this is one card that I think can combo very well with the current Destiny Hero, Vision Hero deck, if it had a couple of more adjustments to it. So, Solid Soldier is a level 4, 1300 attack, 1100 defense Earth monster. When it's close to normal summoned, you can special summon one level 4 or lower hero monster from your hand. So, immediately that gives you access to things like Vision Hero Vion, Destiny Hero Celestial, Drill Dark, things like that. So again, pulling more dark monsters on the field, which is a good thing for mask change. Then if this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard by a spell effect, you can target one hero monster in your graveyard except itself, special summon it in defense mode, and it's a hard once per turn effect. So immediately you've got Polymerization, which will send it to the graveyard, and you can go for things like Elemental Hero Gaia or Elemental Hero Novamaster. Those are basically the two targets you have in Duel Links right now that you could use this for an Elemental Hero fusion. However, the most important target, I think, is with Mask Change, and right now we don't have access to Master Hero Diane, or Diane, however you say it. He would be kind of ridiculous because when he destroys a monster, he special summons level 4 from the deck, as well as getting that special summon off from Solid Soldier, but you could potentially use this in a bit of a different way. So what you could do is you could go for an Econ take play. You could get rid of Solid Soldier with Econ, take control of one of your opponent's monsters, use its effect to special summon Vion from the graveyard, use Vion's effect to 1, send a hero from your deck to the graveyard, and then banish a hero to search for polymerization, go for things like Dangerous, or maybe even go for a Mask Change, bringing out Master Hero Anki, and then you can go and attack the game, and then potentially with the other hero monster you special summon from the effect of Solid Soldier in main phase 1, use Mask Change again to get another Anki out, and then go for an attack on that. So it just kind of speeds up the hero deck in general, and I would like to see it come to Duel Links, maybe only as a one-off, but again, it just makes that deck faster than it already is, which might be a good idea, because I've not really seen Master Heroes be played too much on the rank ladder now that, for hires and UAs are kind of controlling the scene, so I'd quite like to see Solid Soldier. Next, we have Keeper of Dragon Magic, which is probably the card that has the highest chance of coming to Duel Links just because of how generic it is, and at the moment how little kind of support we have for it. So it is a 1800 attack, 1300 defense, level 4 dark monster. If this card's normal or special summon, you can discard one card, add one polymerization normal spell or fusion normal spell from your deck to hand. So in Duel Links currently, we have access to the following fusion spells. We have access to Fusion Sage, Fusion Substitute, which I think is a very good option for this, Fusion Tag, Gem Knight Fusion. We also have Revoke Fusion, Parallel World Fusion, Particle Fusion, and Polymerization, of course, which is the main one you're going to go for. So to me, this is really good for those type of decks. Just getting out of Polymerization is a great card, and you're also getting a monster out for it, so it's, to me, a bit better than Fusion Sage in that regard. However, its second effect is really good. You can reveal one fusion monster in your extra deck, special summon one of the fusion materials whose name is specifically listed on that monster from your graveyard in face down defense mode. So the game plan here is to basically discard that monster with its first effect to get into the graveyard, search the poly, then spec that monster out, and then go into a fusion summon. And you can only fusion summon for the rest of this turn. So no synchros, which to me doesn't seem much of a problem, and right now the fusion lineup isn't that great. So to me, I think Keeper of Dragon Magic would be very fair and a nice card to see in Duel Links as a main box UR or a mini box UR, something like that nature. It may only be a one-of in most decks. Like, I know I'm going to try and run it in Dark Magician in the TCG, but apart from that, I think Duel Links would be a good fit for Keeper of Dragon Magic. Then we move on to Yusei's cards, starting with a pretty big one. Junk Speed, a level 5 wind, 800 attack, 1000 defense, requires one Synchron Tuner and one non-tuner monster. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon as many Synchron Tuner monsters as possible with different levels from your deck in defense mode. So immediately you can get a level 3 out, a level 1 out, and with Duel Links stats you set, you've got potentially up to 2 summons on the field with Junk Speeder, and that lets you go through some even bigger plays. However, you can only special summon Synchro monsters from the extra deck with this card effect for the rest of the turn. So again, locking you into that mechanic, but if you're running Junk Warrior and you're running a Junk deck, then this is going to be, you're not going to be running Fusion, so you're not going to be really worried about that too much. When an attack is involving this card, or is declared involving this card that was synchro summoned this turn and another monster, you can double this card's attack until the end of this turn. So it becomes a 3,600 point monster during the battle phase for that one battle for that turn it's synchro summoned, which to me makes it better than Junk Synchron, and Junk Warrior, sorry, just because it can be a bigger monster when you want it to, and then it also has the ability to summon out these other tuner monsters, which really is quite helpful when, considering you would make this using the same kind of materials you would use to summon out Junk Warrior, it is better, just because of the plays that you can do with it. So obviously these are two cards that we've confirmed are going to be in Duel Links at some point via skills or whatever. Star Spark Dragon has a skill, and Stardust Dragon we know has many skills, so it is safe to assume that these two cards are going to be in the game very early. Obviously there are bigger and potentially more beefier and more destructive level 8, level 9 synchro monsters you could go into, but we can talk about cards we definitely know are coming. And obviously you can go with, if you summon out a Junk Synchron with your with your Junk Speeder, then you can go into a Stardust Spark Dragon or a Stardust Dragon and have those two monsters on the field ready to negate card effects if you want to prioritize that over prioritizing the 3600 attack point beast you have on your field for one turn only, and then not having to risk Junk Speeder getting destroyed in your next turn. Alternatively, you can go for another one of the promo cards, and that is Stardust Assault Warrior. It's a level 6, wind, 200 attack, 200 defense, so a bit weaker than Junk Warrior again. Requires 1 tune and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. When this card is synchro summoned, while you control no other monsters, you can target one junk monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So with that, you can go and grab access to Junk Speeder or Junk Synchron. If you grab Junk Speeder, then you immediately have another 1800 point monster on the field, which can't use its effect to double up to 3600, which is fine. However, it is going to be hard to pull this combo off in the way you kind of want it to, because if you're going directly from Junk Speeder into Stardust Assault Warrior, then you're missing out on the special summon effect from Stardust Assault Warrior, because your field will be full. It will have 3 monsters in it rather than just the 2 you kind of need. So you can go into potentially a level 9, level 10 Synchro monster with this combo if you bring out Junk Synchron or bring out another tuner monster. So it could be a very fun combo indeed to kind of work with. So I think that Assault Warrior has a higher chance of coming to Duel Links than Junk Speeder does. Considering that Junk Speeder is a TCG exclusive right now, it will take a while, but Assault Warrior I could see coming before Junk Speeder does, and also it does have a piercing damage as well, which for a 2100 point monster isn't so bad. So I think that's pretty fair. Finally, we have a card that I think would kind of break Duel Links a little bit, and especially when you combine it with Stardust Assault Warrior's effect, then I think it's going to be really good. So Junk Collector, level 5, 1000 attack, 2,200 defense point monster, and it's a quick effect. So you can activate this during your opponent's turn, during your turn, at any point. I believe that's how it works. You can banish this card on the field and 1 normal trap in your graveyard. Apply that banished trap's effect. However, the trap's activation requirements must still be correct, but costs are not paid. So immediately, I thought Treacherous Trap Hole might be a good option for this. Drowning Mirror Force might be a good option for this, but those all have activation requirements that, when you activate Junk Collector, those must be correct. So with Treacherous, you basically can't use it because you cannot activate this card if you have any trap cards in your graveyard, and Treacherous would still be in the graveyard on the activation of Junk Collector's effect, so it doesn't work. With Drowning Mirror Force, of course, your opponent would have to declare a direct attack. They won't be, they'd be declaring an attack on a monster card because Junk Collector would be on the field at that moment, so you wouldn't be able to use that either. I believe that's how that works. But 2 good use cases for it, as well as some other things like Elemental Burst, I think it is, that destroys all cards on the field. That could be a really tilty move with that. But Wall of Disruption and Floodgate Trap Hole would both work because, one, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you are able to hit that activation requirement spot on, as well as Floodgate for when an opponent summons a monsters, you can hit that spot on as well. So those are 2 pretty powerful trap cards that are seeing play in Duel Links today, are seeing a lot of play in Duel Links that Junk Collector could work very well with, and Junk Collector in the OCG was very prone to being the candidate for a bunch of FTKs using Magical Explosion. It could be kind of catastrophic if Duel Links went down the line of bringing in a card that can facilitate multiple OTKs and FTKs, and hopefully they don't do that. Additionally, Junk Collector will, because the trap card effect is being activated as the effect of Junk Collector, this bypasses things like Jinzo and Elemental Hero Wildheart, so they will be affected by this card. If you get a Mirror Force or whatever, or a Floodgate, then you can flip those face down, or you can lower their attack points with Wall of Disruption, things like that. So this will bypass one of the currently tiltiest decks in the KC Cup, the Tenkabito Wildheart deck. This will completely bypass that if it did come to Duel Links, which would be quite interesting to see. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What cards you think could come to Duel Links out of this list? Again, this is just like my thoughts on the cards, and none of these cards are confirmed in any way to come, so don't take this as a leak video or anything. But I just wanted to have a nice discussion video for you guys. Something different on the channel. I know I've been kind of lacking with uploads recently, and now that September's come along, I should be able to get a bit more videos out for you guys, especially with 5Ds coming very soon. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you did enjoy. Again, there will be links down below to the channel membership, which you can do to support me if you enjoy the content and you want to keep this channel going for the foreseeable future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Duel Links video. See you then.